Welcome to another edition of Almost Martha. And today, wow, we're in September. Weather is changing, but today it's hot. It's like 85 degrees out there. We're gonna grill out. I'm gonna make some really delicious sort of chicken kebabs, chicken skewers with some quinoa and veggies, and it should be a nice, fun evening. We're gonna have some neighbors over and stuff, so that'll be great. That'll be great. So you gotta get those last minutes of summer in when you can, right? Take every moment, but don't worry, because we're gonna be outside all fall because I like fire. Mark says, I'm a pyromaniac and I really do have to own it. So there'll be fires everywhere outside. Yes, I love it. But for tonight, last days of summer, and we're gonna have some nice chicken kebabs. I'm gonna make them really quick and you're gonna love them. They're really good. So hang on. Here we go. So there's a lot of condiments you see in front of me, and we're gonna mix all of these condiments together to make a really nice sauce. I'm gonna put about 3 chicken breasts in this sauce and let it marinate just for a couple hours. Doesn't have to marinate super long. And we're gonna start with just some barbecue sauce I had open in my refrigerator. So any kind of barbecue sauce that you like, that's gonna be one of the big bases of this sauce. Okay. Now you have a choice. Look in your cupboard and see what you have. The last time I made this, I did not have soy sauce available, but I used this instead. So this is a Trader Joe's sauce. This is a soyaki. I really liked it. The original recipe called for soy sauce, so you can totally do that too. I have a half cup of that soyaki, which is really quite good, and there's sesame seeds in there too, which are quite delicious. So it's your choice, either soy sauce, or if you have a Trader Joe's near you, you can get some of this great soyaki. Then we're going to add some rice wine vinegar, and I think it's about 1.5 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. Just pour it right in. I'm just going to use this, do about half. There you go. It's a little more. Not going to worry about it. Not going to worry about it. This is called real cooking in the kitchen. So the next thing is some sesame oil, and 3 teaspoons of sesame oil. 1, 2, 3. We have garlic powder. Y'all know how I feel about garlic. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. If Mom were here, she would skip the garlic powder, but I'm going to add some. If you have some fresh garlic, I would mince it and then put it in. So I'm going to say maybe half a teaspoon there of garlic for my mother, who is not a garlic fan. And we're going to get about 1.5 tablespoons of honey. This honey's a little old, so bear with me. I think I'm just going to open it up, scoop it out. A little old, a little crystalline. I have some other honey in there, but this looked like it was ready to go. Or maybe not. I'm going to go get my other honey. Okay, I have some bee's knees honey here, which it's really quite good. It's got a little bit of lemon in it too, and lemon's not going to hurt anything here. So that's about a teaspoon, 1.5 teaspoons. There you go. Amen. If it's a little sweeter than they want, that's fine. A little sweet never hurt anybody, right? Okay. Red pepper flakes, I would say to taste. It calls for about a teaspoon, but if you like a little spice, you can add a little more. So totally up to you. You know, the way I feel about it. This is my kitchen. This is your kitchen, right? If you don't like garlic, leave it out. If you like garlic, put more in. If you like lots of red pepper, put that in too. All right. So here is my lovely marinade. Boy, it smells really good. It smells really good. So I'm just going to take this. This is what the soyaki was in. And I'm just going to pour some of this out because I want to be able to brush it on my vegetables as well. And I don't want to contaminate it with the marinade that the chicken is going to be in. So I am going to get my chicken. I'm going to clear the decks, and then we'll slice it, cube it, and put it right in the sauce. Okay, I'm going to slice my chicken, and I have to make a confession. Normally, I would be using this. And it's a little piece of plastic that I would use for chicken, especially because, you know, it's like nuclear waste, right? You have to wear gloves and be sanitized and all that stuff after you work with it. So I would put it in plastic, and then I would put the plastic in the dishwasher. But if you read the news, which, you know, you kind of got to, right? Cutting on chicken actually increases the likelihood, cutting on plastic increases the likelihood that plastic is going to end up in your food. And if you don't know it already, plastic is everywhere. According to scientists, doctors, plastic is now in our bloodstreams, it's now in our brain, it's now in our heart. And there's a big uptick of all kinds of maladies and ailments that can be traced back to plastic being in your body. One of my favorite things to eat is are apples. I love apples. Apples is a fruit that contains generally a lot of plastic, apparently. So I'm not going to use my cutting boards to actually cut on because I don't want plastic to end up getting in the food. So I am using a wooden cutting board. I'm using a smaller one instead of this big one because I can actually put it in water and soak it and, you know, kind of get really, really super clean, which is what you have to do. So now you might get a little wood in there, but wood is not plastic. So it's a dangerous world we live in. There I've said it. So if you're using a plastic cutting board, a long time ago, I used to have a glass one, and I think I would like to find another glass one. So it's a little harder to cut on because things do slip around just a little bit. However, it won't put plastic in your food. So there you have it. Now, you could marinate these chicken breasts whole, or you can cut them up like this. And what this does is give this little piece of chicken a lot more surface area in the marinade. So that way more marinade is going to cling to it. So if you're going to do whole marinated chicken breasts, that's one thing. And that's great. And that's delicious too. But we're going to do kabobs. So don't cut the chicken up too small, Laura. Remember, it's going to go on a skewer. It's not like you're cutting it for a stir fry. But you also don't want it to be so big that it might have trouble cooking on the grill because the vegetables do cook faster than the chicken. And you want to make sure that the chicken is going to be completely done when it's cooked, you know, anytime. And on a skewer, very important. So let's see how much marinade I have left here. Once I get this gigantic chicken breast, you know, Costco. So there we go. Oh, okay, I can add one more. That's great. That's great. Went to Costco today. Got some of the, you know, nice chicken breasts from Costco. They're not as, well, actually, they could be. You know, those big prehistoric chickens they have that are roasted for like, you know, $5.99, something like that. They're not quite that big, but it's a pretty big breast. Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing, right? Chicken breast used to be much smaller, I remember as a kid, and likely much more tasty. So, yeah. Sorry for all the bad news today, folks, but it's good to know. It's good to know what you're eating. Good to know what you're eating. There was okay. So we've got a lot of chicken here, which is terrific. because even if I don't need all of these kebabs tonight, then we'll have some left over. Because if you have any chicken left over, what a fantastic stir fry that would make, right? And they're already in pieces, so it'd be super easy to have a little, you know, next night left over. So perfect. Okay, so that's 2 packages of chicken. That's more chicken than I thought I was going to put in there. So I ended up with 4 chicken breasts. I will make a kebab for about 50 people, which we're not going to have. But great. I'm going to stir this up. I'm going to cover it up, and I'm going to leave it in the refrigerator for about 3 hours before I start to put the kebabs together. So it'll give time for the flavor to all meld together. But now I have to go and sanitize myself. We're ready. So now we're going to start building our kebabs. And these are really great skewers. Look at them. They're totally flat. If you use one like this, they'll work, but sometimes your vegetables or meat can rotate on there. So these flat ones are really great for keeping everything in place. So I'm going to start with a vegetable. We'll start with, an onion, pepper, whatever. And then I've got a piece of chicken. I'm going to add a piece of pepper. I'm going to add a piece of pineapple. Be careful with your fingers in the pineapple because you're sort of putting them in the marinade. So just be careful. If you touch a piece of pineapple, you got to use it. Okay. All right. Here we go. Piece of chicken, piece of pepper, piece of pineapple. And it's sort of good to alternate, some colors and stuff too. So it makes it a colorful kebab. My chicken is not too big. When you dice your pepper and your onion, remember what your end goal is, which is to put them on a skewer. So you really don't want to make them too small. You can have a little bit of room between everything, but not too much. Just enough. Now I have room for a piece of pineapple here on the end. Okay, and now we just continue building these kebabs. So as you can see, that's a pretty nice chunk of onion. Nice chunk of chicken. Pepper. We're going to go pineapple. These pineapple slices were sort of already sliced, so I had to turn that one sideways, sort of cracked a little bit. And then I'm going to turn my onion so that it's going to catch my chicken. Okay. I'm going to put a little red one. It's always good to have some nice color combinations. Makes it kind of nice and festive. A piece of chicken. Kind of doubled that a little bit. Now I'm going to cap it with onion. A little bit of pepper. Okay, some beautiful looking kebabs. So as you can tell, this is going to take a little while. So we'll check back in with you once I've got all my kebabs done. Now, when my kebabs are done, I'm just gonna then we'll take the marinade. We'll brush the marinade all over everything. That's sort of the final thing before it goes on the grill. That's one of the last steps that you do. Remember, we reserved a little of that marinade just for that purpose. But for now, I'm just going to be building some kebabs. So I'll be at this a while. Well, you can check back in with me a little later. Not that this isn't riveting, but you can check back in just a tad later. Well, I've got all my kebabs. That's a lot of kebabs, right? I mean, there are 5 of us, so we'll have plenty to eat. We'll have plenty to eat. So now I'm just taking my reserved marinade that we sort of set aside at the beginning, and I'm going to swab everything with this little brush and take this out to the grill with us. So if it needs a little more, once we put it down on the coals, then we'll be able to just add a little more marinade to the kebabs. So how pretty, right? And colorful. Just wait till they get nice and cooked and charred up. Delicioso. Okay. Bellissima. Perfecto. Okay. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of salt. It's going to cling to that marinade. Help it stay on there. Okay. And that's it. It is ready for the fire. Ready for the fire. So we'll come back once they've been all beautifully cooked, and I'll sort of pile them on a big platter and let everybody grab their kebab. So there you go. Okay, here we are. We have lots of kebabs. There's kebabs outside, kebabs in here, kebabs everywhere. I made some smaller ones that I can serve with the big ones because they won't have quite as much stuff on them in case you want 1.5, something like that. So, okay, here we go. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's really good. Really good. Really good flavor. I'll keep that for me. Really, really good. And it's a fun thing to serve. And it's really easy. It's almost easier to manage than, 6 chicken breasts or something like that. So it's great. Really tasty, really good, and very easy. Very pretty. So please go to the website. Go to almost-martha.com to get the recipe. And then finish up your summer by grilling some kebabs. You can trade out the chicken for shrimp. You can trade out, for beef. All of that's there. Just make sure that if it's chicken, it's fully cooked. So you can put a little probe inside the little piece of chicken and see what it's done. The metal skewers really help cook it from the inside. So that's great because the metal skewers get really hot. If you're using something like a little wooden skewer, you might have to make sure you cook it just a little bit longer just to make sure that piece is done. But then you can just pull off a piece of chicken and test it right there at the grill. So fantastic. Almost-martha.com for the full recipe. Hi, Mom. I'll see you guys next time. Enjoy the last few days of summer. Bye.